Brilliant. We are live. Welcome to the pre-market overview Wednesday, July 29th, 2020. Happy Wednesday. Hope you had a good Monday and Tuesday and your trading week is going well so far. So for those that might not know, my name is Becky. That's me there. Becky@tradewithufos.com. That is my email address. So you can get me on that if you need anything, if you have questions about anything I covered today. Otherwise, we also have the support team. Support@tradewithufos.com. They're actually normally better to direct your queries to because they're a team, so quicker at responding. Okay, so for those that maybe have never been on the pre-market overview with me before, just going to explain what we do. So the main body, what we do is we go through our newsletter. So if you're not already subscribed to get the newsletter every day, just email us newsletter@tradewithufos.com and you will get that through obviously the updated one every day on a daily basis, Monday to Friday. So the newsletter goes through 4 of the major markets in the world, gives us an idea of where we think they're going, how fast they're likely to move, where we think they could turn, and news upcoming that could impact these markets as well. And then we do the pre-market overview for 15-20 minutes where we just expand on those concepts and explain it a little bit more to those that need a little bit more explanation around what's on the newsletter. Okay, so a couple of reminders. Obviously, today being a Wednesday, we have futures and option sessions within the Tradictive channel. You'll see that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have stocks and investing sessions, so you can access those. And then sharpening sessions over the weekend. Those are going to be being able to go through concept, methodology, structure of things, bring your questions without the rush or the need to feel like you've got to put a trade on. It's obviously over the weekend, it can be more theoretical. Also psychology sessions we do in the sharpening sessions as well. Very important. So next upcoming classes, we have the stocks class that starts August 8th until the 14th, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. That'll be me taking that class. Then we have psychology, futures, and trading plans after that. So I'll let you guys read the dates and the times for those whilst I read the disclaimers, and then we will crack on and go through the newsletter. Okay, so the following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradictive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide. It does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. The following presentation is for educational purposes only. All the symbols and trading ideas discussed are for demonstrating and are not recommendations. Active options and futures trading carries a high degree of risk and may not be suitable for all traders. Past historical trading performance of real or simulated trading does not guarantee success and may not be indicative of future results. You Can Trade is an online media publication service which provides educational investment content and ideas along with live trading demonstrations and does not provide investment or trading advice, research or recommendations of any kind. Please visit www.youcantrade.com for additional disclosure information. Great. And try and get that done as quickly as I can. So there we go. Okay, so this is the newsletter. This is what it looks like. This is what's sent out every day. So we go through 4 of the major markets in the world, the S&P, one of the major equity indexes or indices, oil and gold, both major commodities, and the euro, which especially when looked at as the euro US dollar, is one of the highest traded assets in the world. The euro versus the US dollar is the highest traded in terms of volume currency pair in the world. The US dollar by itself is responsible for 80% of transactions worldwide every day in the markets. So across these 4 markets, obviously, especially that last one, we've covered quite a lot of what goes on out there in the market. So hopefully, even if you don't trade these, what you do trade will be correlated and sort of help you from there. You'll also notice we go through a daily time frame for each of these markets. So different things happen on different time frames, but the daily does seem to fall within what most people do, whether you're a long-term trader or a short-term trader. The daily does tend to play a part, so that's why we use that one. Now, for each of these markets, we're going to go through climate, which basically means trend. Are we in an uptrend or an upwards climate, downwards trend? In what environment are we moving in, up or down? And what are the probabilities associated with it? Then we have propagating, which is how long can we expect that climate to continue? We all know the phrase, the trend is your friend until the bend at the end, right? So the propagating figures give us an idea of how close we are to that bend at the end, based on what is statistically likely to happen, based on probabilities, based on averages. To get these figures, we use the Auto Climate app. I'll show you it on a chart in a minute, and that's what we use to get these figures. We also look at nearest UFOs. So UFO stands for unfilled orders. And what we mean by that is where we expect there to be buy orders in a big stack that could push price upwards, or sell orders in a big stack that could push price downwards. We use our Alter UFO app to help us identify these on a chart to give us an idea of where those orders are likely to be that could turn price. Then for each market, we're going to go through volatility. So just to explain what we mean by volatility, it just means how far we expect price to go within given periods of time. Now, when I say what we expect, what I really mean is it's what professional traders expect, because these numbers here, the current implied volatility numbers, come from the options of these markets, especially these big markets are traded by professional traders. Now, in options, there is a risk of exercise or assignment depending on how fast markets move. So when professional options traders are buying and selling the options and therefore setting the price of them, inherent in what they're willing to buy and sell it for is the risk they're willing to take based on how far they think it's going to go. So effectively, the options price reflects how fast professional traders think these markets will move. And that's where we get these numbers from implied volatility. Just basically a long way around of saying the numbers here reflect professional traders' opinion as to price movement, as to what we can expect in terms of price movement. Everything in this column is a percentage. You'll see that. So it tells us what we expect up or down within 1 year based on a percentage or in a percentage. We can then reverse engineer it to understand what that looks like per day, per week, and per month. So I'll go through that for each of the markets, and then we'll come down and go through some upcoming news. Okay, lots to do, so let's crack on. We are going to go and have a look at the S&P first. So SPX.X is the symbol that we're using for that. So this is a chart of the S&P. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger there, spread it out a bit, just in case you're on a phone or something, makes it a bit easier to see. So you'll see down here, this is our ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app. The ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app tells us in one of, well, 3 things. It can show us 3 things. Either we have a thick blue dot, which we have in this case, which tells us that we have an upwards climate or an upwards trend, and we have confirmation. So it's a confirmed upwards trend, confirmed upwards climate, meaning we have more probabilities for that climate to go in our favor. Or we can have a thick red dot, which tells us that we're in a confirmed downwards climate, confirmed downwards trend, and that we have probabilities to the downside. Or it can be a thin dot of either color. If it's a thin dot of either color, then the color still tells us whether it's up or down, but the fact that it's thin tells us that we have less probabilities. So we get all of that information just from colored dots, which I think is pretty cool. So we've got a confirmed upwards climate here. We can see that because it's showing us a thick blue dot. Now, in terms of UFOs, unfilled orders, stacks of orders that we expect to turn price, the closest buy one is just down here. That's our closest buy UFO, 2955.45 to 2933.59. That's the closest stack of buy orders. Closest stack of sell orders just up here, 3373.23 to 3393.52. That's showed there by our red UFO, our sell UFO. Again, that's where we expect there to be sell orders that could price down and could push price down if price were to get there. Okay, so we saw that we have a confirmed upwards climate. We had a thick blue dot. We show it here on the newsletter by just showing you an arrow pointing upwards. If it's unconfirmed, it would have a little cross next to it. We'll see that in a minute when we go into oil. As it doesn't have a cross, confirmed climate. So propagating, how long can we expect it to keep going up for? That's basically what we want to know here. Now, the numbers on the right-hand side tell us how long these markets averagely go in this direction for. Whatever that number is, whatever the decimal place is, I'm going to round it up. So effectively add 1 to each of those numbers. So what we see here is that the S&P would normally go up for 10 candles in a row on a daily chart. And we're on candle number 1. So we have probabilities that the upwards climate or the upwards trend will continue. Because based on statistics, what is likely in the world of probabilities is that we're going to keep continuing to the upside there, because we are at the start of a normal move of 10 candles to the upside. We also have a confirmed upwards climate, so both sort of buy signals there. However, we are kind of in the middle of nowhere when it comes to buy UFOs. There's none close by that could push price up. And of course, new orders can come into the markets and change things around. So bear that in mind. But from a climate perspective, looks like we have pressure to the upside. Okay, so coming down to the S&P in terms of volatility, we look at VIX.X. That's where we get these numbers from. And we can see that based on professional traders' opinions, we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year on the S&P of 55.28%. Meaning in 1 day, we expect a movement up or down of 51.25 points. In 1 week, up or down of 112.83 points. And in a month, up or down of 234.87 points. Okay. So next market, we're going to look at oil. So that's at CL. That is the continuous futures contract for oil. So let's take a look here. Okay, I just need to move this a bit because we are really far from UFOs at the moment. So we really need to scrunch it together to be able to see. There we go. Okay. So you'll notice on the bottom here on our Auto Climate app, it might be a little bit hard to see that dot, and there's a point to that. It is a thin red dot. Now, red telling us that we're in downwards climate, but thin telling us that it's less probabilities. It's unconfirmed. So that's why it's showing us a thin dot there. And not surprising that we're having an unconfirmed climate here. Price hasn't really done much over the last few days. I know scrunching it has made that look worse, but it hasn't really done much. And it hasn't really done much because we haven't really had any stacks of orders close by to push it up or down. So when it comes to the closest stacks of orders, the buy orders are down here. This is our buy UFO at 26.03 to 25.52. You'll see it's just nestled on top of another one there. We've got two sort of nestled on top of each other. Then we have our closest sell UFO up here, 53.55 to 55.43. That's the closest stack of sell orders that could push price down. So as we see, we're sort of in the middle, not really near either one of them. So not surprising that price isn't really going anywhere and that we don't have a confirmed climate. Now, in terms of the climate, like we said, unconfirmed down climate. So normally oil would go down for 8 candles and we're on candle number 1. So we do have probabilities to our side that this move to the downside could continue, but we do have less probabilities because it's an unconfirmed climate. So bear that in mind. And like we said, nothing close at the moment. Of course, new orders can come in that could potentially move price, but right now we're not close to anything that we can pick up on the chart at the moment. So in terms of movement on oil, we look at OVX.X. And we can see that we would expect a movement up or down in oil in 1 year of 41.09%, which means in 1 day, we would expect a movement up or down of 1.07 points. In 1 week, a movement up or down of 2.36 points. And in 1 month, a movement up or down of 4.91 points. Okay, next market, we're looking at gold. So at GC, that is the confirmed futures contract once again. So at GC. Now, gold is an interesting one. I'll explain why in a minute. So once again, confirmed upwards climate. We have a thick blue dot telling us we have confirmed and probabilities pushing us to the upside here. Closest stack of buy orders is here. This is our buy UFO, 1836.7 to 1825.9. Now, we don't have any sell UFOs. We're essentially hitting all-time highs. We're not, because there are actually sell UFOs from decades ago, but they're very obviously likely to be cancelled. We don't expect there to be sell orders sat in a market for decades. So they are there. The Auto UFO app will pick them up, but we don't show you it on here because the likelihood is that they're cancelled and that they're not actually going to be as strong. So like we said, at the moment, we're just looking at gold. We just have our buy UFO, which is why this is blank and there's nothing in that field there. So we had a confirmed upwards climate on gold. Now we can see here that normally gold would go up for 6 candles in a row. That's the average. That's what's statistically likely. And we have been going up for 8 days. So we're on the 8th candle there to the upside. So what that means is we've surpassed what's statistically likely to happen. Now, that's not to say that we won't keep pushing forward. As we saw, we have no sell UFOs that could push price down anywhere close at the moment. And of course, we'll see in a minute, of course, we sometimes do break these statistics by quite a lot. So it's not to say we won't keep breaking it, but every time we go over what is statistically likely, we of course lose probabilities. So for us at Tradictive, it's all about putting as many odds in our favor as possible. So yes, we have a confirmed upwards climate. Yes, we have a buy UFO and no sell UFO, but we're over what is statistically likely for it to keep going to the upside. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so coming down to volatility, we look at GVZ.X, or the correct way is GVZ.X to say that. So we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 28.96%, meaning in 1 day, a movement up or down of 36 points. In 1 week, a movement up or down of 79.2 points. And a movement up or down in 1 month of 164.8 points. Okay, last market, we're looking at the euro versus the US dollar, spot forex market there, euro USD. Okay, so I'm just going to move this about so we can see our sell UFOs. So confirmed upwards climate again. So thick blue dot telling us that we have an upwards climate with probabilities on our side there to the upside. Closest stack of buy orders is here, 1.1597 to 1.1507. I've just rounded that to where it needs to be. And as we can see, if I just scrunch this a bit, you'll see we have buy UFOs after buy UFO after buy UFO after buy UFO. We have loads of them stacked on top of each other. And we see that they've done exactly what we expect them to do. Price comes in and goes upwards, comes in, goes upwards, creates a new UFO, goes upwards, comes back in, goes upwards. We expect that buy UFOs do push price upwards, and that's exactly what they have been doing. We can see that here. So lots of buying pressure there underneath us, pushing us to the upside. Closest stack of sell orders is up here at 1.1914 to 1.1998. Okay, so like we said, sometimes things go out of probabilities and statistics, because normally the euro US dollar would go up for 4 candles on a daily chart, and we're on candle number 18. So obviously more than 4 times overextended to what is normal and what is average, what is statistically likely to happen. So bear in mind, the longer that we go in one direction for, the less likely we are to keep doing that. If you keep pulling an elastic band, the more likely it is to contract, and the less likely it is to allow you to keep pulling it. So it's the same principle here. So interesting, we do have many buy UFOs below us. We do have a confirmed upwards climate, but we are very far overextended as to it continuing to the upside. To be interesting to see which of these forces sort of win. So in terms of movement on the euro, we look at EVZ.X or EVZ.X, and we expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 8.38%. Meaning in 1 day, we expect a movement up or down of 62 pips. In 1 week, a movement up or down of 136 pips. And in 1 month, a movement up or down of 284 pips. Okay, so like we say, these numbers here just give us an idea of how far we could expect price to move within given periods of time. Climate and propagating give us an idea of in which direction. And the nearest UFOs give us an idea of where price could turn and change direction. Okay, so we've just looked at direct forces in the markets, which is buy and sell orders. That is the most direct force that we have for price going up or down, is literally buying and selling. Now, an indirect force example is news. So we do need to understand the news that we have upcoming and how it could impact us. And we look at www.fxstreet.com/economic-calendar. So what we do with that is we filter by high impact news and by US market. So of course, by all means, if you trade outside of those parameters, you can go to the website and play about with the filters there to get what you see. So what we see here is once the news has actually come out, it will populate here. We'll get some data underneath this actual column so we can see what happened. Obviously, for Wednesday and Thursday, nothing's come out yet. That's why it's still blank. So today being Wednesday, we can see that we will have 3 bits of news that will come out, or 3 reports that will come out that could have a high impact on US markets. 2 coming out at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 coming out at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So that's the Fed interest rate decision, the Fed's monetary policy statement, and the FOMC press conference. So lots of big stuff coming out today, which could have an impact on the markets. And then obviously tomorrow as well, but we'll cover that tomorrow. Okay. So a couple of reminders, if you're not already part of the fun and with us on our future sessions, investing, stocks, options, psychology, sharpening and support as well, then you can join us at www.tradictive.com/youcantrade. It is a free 14-day access, so you can come and try us out for a couple of weeks first, see if you like us first, and then go from there. Next upcoming course where we go from the foundations upwards, making sure that we go from the theory right the way through to practice, is the stocks course. That is www.tradictive.com/stocks live. So you can go and click on that and read a bit about it on there. There is an offer at the moment. Register for any course and choose an additional course for free. So it's like a buy one, get one free as well. So go to the website, see the courses that are on offer and see how you can package it together in a way that makes the most sense for you and gets you the most out of that deal. Okay, so today being Wednesday, we will come back for futures and options. And at 4:15 p.m. Eastern, my colleague Boyan will be coming back to look at what did happen in the markets, which of these orders, also which of these forces did win, what happened with the orders in the markets, and sort of learn from what's already happened and reflect on what did happen during the day. So that'll be 4:15 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, I will be back tomorrow morning. So I'll see you then, guys. Hope you have a great trading day. Have fun, and we'll